Hello and welcome to 10 p.m. with Galinsky. I am excited to be with you for yet another cool episode of a cool interview show here coming out of New York City. I hope everybody is well. The cry of the people has been heard. The changes are afoot, and it's super exciting to be living right now while this is happening. So I hope you're taking it in and also putting it out and making some change, getting involved. I want to tell you who's supporting our show tonight. Nuchas.com. Nuchas, the evolution of handheld foods. Argentinian empanadas. So delish. So good. What else can I tell you? VIP Talent Connect is one of our supporters, and ActorTrade.com, another supporter. Tonight's guest I've known for a long time, and he is really incredibly creative. It's going to be ridiculous how much creativity that you guys are going to see tonight out of this particular guest. So I'm not going to talk much more, and I'm just going to bring into the show. Please welcome Victor Varnado. Hey, Victor.
Hey, how's it going?
See you, man. I'm good. So welcome to the show. Before we start, I want to shout out some of the chatters in the house, and I think you've got a little monetration on your side over there too. Jennifer Catellis is with us, Colin Peterson, Callie Greenberg, Scott Waldman, Turco Ono is with us, Jack Fuller, Amy Alt, Winnie Maria. Hi, Winnie. Hi, Jack. Hi, Amy. Michael Swiskay, Willis Turner. It gets crowded in here. It's really good. How have you been?
Awesome. Hey, everybody. I've been great.
Great.
How wonderful to meet you all.
You are in New York, right? You are in the lovely confines of Queens and in your giant estate from what we talked about earlier, huh?
Yes, in my multi-block estate.
It's beautiful. I want to jump right in with looking at some of the cartoons that you've done, and I want to start with the most recent one that is in the New Yorker. And let's talk about what it looks like, but also how you do what you do. So this is a really fun one. Sad and fun. Everything's a little bittersweet these days.
Yeah,
know?
You can't just describe it as fun.
Right?
Yeah, sad and fun, I think, is pretty appropriate.
So when you are, how many of these, let's see, how many of these do you write or draw and write? What's the ratio of how many submitted to how many get accepted?
Well, interesting, because when I first got in the New Yorker, the very first time I submitted, I would say over 100 cartoons before I first got in.
Really? Wow.
But then after I got in the New Yorker for the first time, then after that, it seems like the fourth cartoon I submitted got in.
I'm noticing that I cut off the bottom. Actually, we're just getting
started.
Yep. Got it. Yeah, doing something about it. And then this is another one with our fearless orange savage, not knowing which way to run.
Yeah, going back into the bunker. I just thought it was funny that it went into the bunker. I also think that the whole idea of what we're going through right now seems like the beginning of an apocalypse movie. It's like first the virus came, then the riots, then the president went to a bunker, murder hornets. Like, it sounds like the beginning of an apocalypse film.
It sounds like it's going to be easily could be one of your series, because you're producing so many different things. This one I found really hilarious because I felt this over the past month and a half. I've like, during the whole Me Too thing, I did my inventory. I'm like, did I do anything? And so now this comes up, and I'm like doing and I saw this, and I was like, oh my God, this is like every white person is doing their inventory right now.
Yeah, this is hilarious because when I saw the images of everybody in Congress with those scarves on,
yeah,
I was like, how did this happen? Like, how did that happen? Because, I mean, here's the thing. I get that what they're trying to do is they're trying to show solidarity with the African-American community. But to be honest, those scarves are what are those called, Leslie?
Kente cloth, right? Was it
Kente cloth,
yeah.
right? The kente cloth. That's not really representative of most of Black America.
No.
So it's not. And so like they were like, why? It just didn't make any sense to me. And it seemed like too much.
The
That's
thing
all.
that got the way too much for me, and I should have read the articles because I'm wondering who gave them to them. Did they go to a wholesaler and buy them themselves, or did someone of African descent give that to them and say, "Let's"?
I heard that there was an African American organization which suggested them, but still they suggested what they wanted, but not necessarily something that's representative of most of the U.S.
Right.
So
I think
it was really weird.
the hats were way over the top. The hats were like
It was crazy.
humor in that hat.
I think the funniest thing I heard somebody say about them was why don't they go and make laws instead of dressing up like instead of dressing up like a Wakandan chess set. Yeah,
That's great.
That's pretty funny.
Condon chess set. New people are joining us in the chat. My brother, Andrew T. Galinsky, what up? Patricia Whitpass, who's going to be a guest on the show. Ross Dodds, Elizabeth Harder, Anthony Randall, who is on tomorrow night. It's going to be a great show tomorrow night, just like tonight's show. Turco Ono says, welcome, Victor.
Thank you.
Capper's with us. Katha Cato was on last night, Queens World Film Festival. Petar Timotik, the brilliant visual artist, Jamie Meadis, John Harris, Steve LaRue. Steve LaRue and I played football together when we were kids, and that was amazing. Diane Lead, Wally Green was on last week. Do you know Wally Green, the table tennis pro from Brooklyn?
I do not know Wally
Incredible
Green,
guy.
table tennis pro.
Incredible guy. So
table tennis is something I always want to aspire to. I'm terrible.
He's insanely good. He plays 30 feet away. He can beat you. He uses a cell phone from 1998 instead of a paddle. He can beat you. It's nuts.
Can he beat Forrest Gump?
Well, he's in the chat. Wally, throw an answer up. Let us know. So Willis Turner says, love these backstories. So let's get some backstory here. Where you grew up, you had, how many siblings did you have?
I have 12 brothers and sisters.
Incredible.
And then when I got older, I had 13 brothers and sisters because they found extras.
Wait, was it like Baker's dozen kind of thing?
Well, see, my dad, he's a rambler and he likes to ramble around. Gotcha. And so he did.
He rambled.
And so he had 13 kids by 7 different women. Wow. However, when I was an adult, my dad was like, hey, you've got a new brother. Except he was a discovery. So he was 40. So he wasn't like new. He was used. And so he was a 40-year-old brother that I had. And so basically he ended up having 14 kids by 8 different women. That's a lot.
I'd say it's a decent number. Do you know them? Did you grow up with most of them, or is it
some of them I grew up with? Not all of them. I know them as much as I can. Obviously, the one who was like 40 when I heard about him, I didn't know him at all. But we're getting to know each other little by little.
That's cool. And you grew up in Alabama, and how long were you there?
I was in Alabama, I would say, really until I was like junior high, almost junior high. I was there for a lot when I was younger.
Where's that southern accent?
When I get excited, sometimes the southern accent comes out, but not most of the time. Just 1 second. Hey Leslie, can you get the cat off of the shelf? Sorry. We have a new kitten and he is really enjoying everything in the room right now. Cool. You can't see him, but he's just like, as I'm talking, he's just like pew, 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 pew.
How long have you had him?
This is the second day.
Oh, second day. Wow, incredible. So yeah. you are like man of many talents. So I'm gonna ask you, what do you love doing the most? So first, you write, you direct, you write miniseries for Facebook Watch, you've written films, you've produced television, traditional media, new media, you podcast, you do at least 2 or 3 shows weekly. on the internet. What is it that you like the most?
Actually, the thing that I like the most, I do the least, which is animation. That's what I like the most because then you really get to control what the end product is more than you do with anything else. Um, I mean, I think that the thing that makes me happiest is like I will conceive of something, and then when that thing turns out to be as close to my original idea as I wanted it to be, or better, that makes me the happiest. And we have the most control over something like that happening is with animation.
I've known you for a couple decades now in New York, downtown,
Mhm.
mostly in the East Village. And do you normally start with ideas live and then they grow into different mediums, or do you have these ideas and you know exactly where it's going to end up? You try, you
No,
try stuff out on stage, stuff like that.
I mean, for what I do, like they start from all over.
Yeah,
One thing that I always do is I always have like my phone ready to take notes. I've always had like a phone that has like a little note thing so that when I pull out this, it is ready to do notes, and so I can just do notes instantly.
great.
And
And
so
draw, right?
yeah, and so I'll draw things, I'll take notes, and then when I go back in that book, like it's actually kind of interesting because literally in the book there's like so many just like notes saved up, like lots and lots, like
Yeah,
you can't even see, but like hundreds of notes of
yeah,
different ideas.
yeah. Let's look at a couple more of your comics.
Great.
These are fun. These are really fun. This is the Bad Cop Briefing Room.
Yes, the backup. This was an idea that I tried to get the New Yorker to do in their daily cartoons because they do like current event cartoons.
Yeah,
Uh, this was like a rough. So you send them in. The way it works for the daily cartoons, like if you're a regular cartoonist for the New Yorker, then you can send in to their daily cartoons if you have a current events idea, and then you send them a rough cartoon, and then if they accept the rough, then you redraw it and make it a final. But if they don't accept the rough, what I do is I usually just put them on the internet. So this was like a rough that they didn't pick, but then I just put it on the internet.
describe what you would change from the rough of this to a more finished version, so to speak.
Well, for one thing, all the cops that he's talking to are they're cut and paste. I drew one cop,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
I cut and paste them all to just show them what I wanted it to look like. And then everything would be drawn better, cleaner. The shading would be better. The words on the door would be drawn just better overall.
Yeah, just a little minor upgrade.
Yeah, it wouldn't be rough.
This
Like
one I love, man.
I love this one too. Also rejected by the New Yorker.
No way. This is
Yeah.
so. This is
I
so,
love this comic so much.
it's spot on, man. It's just like perfect. It makes so much sense.
Although if I was going to redo it, what I would do was and I am going to redo it because I know some people who might be interested in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw it, but I'm going to make it wide enough so that you can see their cats next to them. So the
Uh-huh.
one guy has a white cat and the other guy has a black cat.
Yeah. It's for
Yeah.
those people who aren't as swift.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Just get the whole picture. Sometimes
Uh,
that's part of working on stuff. You have to make it so that anybody can get it.
got you. They're clamoring in the chat room. Callie Greenberg and Jack Fuller. Jack Fuller says, "What's the kitten's name?" And Callie says, "What's your kitty's name?" And Jack says, "Nature and our animals have to be in first place, more than our capitalistic values that have been entrenched for the past century or more." We got political.
I don't want to get trapped in a bar talking to that guy.
We got a comic. We got a comic coming up for you that talks about that. What's your kitty's name? They want to know.
It's Dizzy. I have two cats. The kitty is new. His name is Dizzy, and the other one is Miles. They're both named after jazz musicians, Miles Davis and Dizzy Gillespie.
All right, so I think the next cartoon actually fits exactly what you just said. Not getting caught in a bar.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
This is actually based on a true story. This is the first cartoon that I ever sold to the New Yorker, and this actually happened in a bar where this guy just got super drunk and he just trapped me and he just started telling me all of his ideas about me and my life, like without me asking him. And so this was just like an explanation.
I think a lot of people have this experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This one tore my heart out.
This one was also of course it was rejected by the New Yorker. This is the saddest cartoon ever.
It is.
This one, I don't know. Sometimes I just have like very weird ideas, and I'll just draw them. And this is one. I love the idea of things of different species interpreting things differently.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I had a real emotional reaction to this one. And this one's funny. Be the best tree you can be. Sadly, if you are reading this, then you're not a very good one.
Yes.
Another mind bender here.
This comes from, sometimes I'll find clip art and I'll just write things around it and then post it. And so this was a piece of clip art that I found, which is a tree, and I just wrote.
So were you always a super creative person as a kid? And tell me where you think it comes from. What drives you with it?
For me, it was being alone. When I was a kid, I was alone all the time. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a black person with albinism, a lazy eye, and also legally blind. So when I was a kid, I spent a lot of time alone, just trying to figuring out things to do for myself, and that sparked, I think, my imagination.
And were you like bullied much? Were you ostracized, or were you just more like on your own, taking your own space?
All of the above.
Yeah.
I was bullied, I was ostracized, and I also did my own thing. I was very, I was a loner a lot of the time. Like, for instance, and this sounds like my mother's a terrible mother, but she's great. Okay, so, but when I was like around 8 or 9 years old, I would walk about 3/4 of a mile to the mall and go hang out at Radio Shack by myself, because the guys at Radio Shack kind of like adopted me, and they would like let me sit on the computer and learn how to program.
Nice.
And so my mother knew where I was and would call them and be like, "Hey, time to come home," or she'd come pick me up. And so I would walk to the mall and go program at Radio Shack by myself.
That's great, man. That's actually, well, I think in this respect, I think it is. It's like Radio Shack's a big brand, but it's mom and pop style shop. My dad had a store, and people would come in there, and he wouldn't kick them out, and they'd hang out, and they'd read magazines, or they'd pretend they were busy looking at packaging, whatever they were doing. But to have, a little safe haven, it's more of a mom and pop shop kind of concept than, look, you're not doing business, get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, their business model obviously didn't work. So
because of people like you. You were free programming. So when did you start to spread your wings as a real performer? And I don't mean professionally, I just mean like you got in front of crowds and you started to say, wow. Because if you're coming from a place where you're kind of isolating yourself or being isolated, and now all of a sudden you're in front of 20 people, 200 people, 2,000, 20,000, when did that change? When did that transition happen?
That was definitely in high school. In high school, as you can imagine, like when you're a kid in high school and you're different from everybody else, you desperately want to fit in. So I think the reason I learned how to do different things is because I wanted to fit in with whatever group I could. And that included theater and dance. And so I danced, I was in theater, I wrote plays, I was a computer programming nerd, which you already knew.
Yeah.
I just did everything as I could, and I would try to be as good as I could at all of the things so that people would like me.
So that's
this gets sadder as we keep going
forward. Don't worry, I'll keep digging a hole with you. I'll jump in with you. It's not sad, actually. It's triumphant. It's actually awesome. And
you're about to meet my kitty cat because I have to pull him off my desk. Here he comes.
Okay. Dizzy. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Dizzy.
There he is.
Hey, Dizzy.
Look at him. He's like, I want to go anywhere but here.
Like a jackal.
Dizzy. Really? Why are you being so bad right now?
Dizzy, stage time.
Look at this guy.
Wants some stage time.
He's got now. He's gone.
Couple new people joined us. Terry Schnook, the great Terry Schnook, producer of many Broadway musicals.
Hey, Terry.
Keith Davis is with us from Texas. Scooter Milvey, Mark Birnbach, Wayne Simmons. Mark Birnbach has a question. He says, if Galinsky was a cartoon character, how would he look and what would the caption read?
If he was a cartoon character, he would be a snooty waiter. And the caption would read, please wait to be treated terribly.
Dude, if you sell that to the New Yorker and you use my likeness, I'm going to just give you a hug. Don't worry about it. Michael Swiss K says, Victor, we salute your conquest of adversity. Capper, hip hop phenom, says Victor Varnado actually sounds like a comic book hero. Have you ever thought of drawing?
Because of the alliteration?
No, I think because of the these are kind of delayed, so I think it's because of all of the amazing things you piled on: Legally Blind, Lazy Eye, Albinism, African American. I mean, these are all...
no, but comic book heroes have alliteration, and you have like Peter Parker.
Oh,
so
I think it's both. I think you're just built for it. Have you ever thought of making a character out of your persona?
Nope.
Okay then. Colin Peterson says your cat is being bad because he has an audience. Christopher Torella just joined us. Turco Ono wants to know, what are you working on now?
I'm working on a lot of different stuff. I'll tell you what I'm most excited about.
Yeah.
Because I am working on just a bunch of random things, of course. But what I'm most excited about right now is I have this very weird game show podcast that I do called Six Unseemly Questions. And where I basically spent a lot of time perfecting it before I really started to push it out to people. And so now I'm really starting to push it out, and I'm partnering with a company that's going to help us with our producing and marketing of it. But the show itself is just ridiculous. It's basically it's called Six Unseemly Questions, and it's me, and I have a sidekick. His name is Dave Brzezinski. He's my co-host, really, but I call him a sidekick. And all he does is derail the show. And the show is I ask people 6 questions, and every time they answer the question, I either ring a bell if I like their answer, or I don't ring a bell and I tell them why I didn't like their answer. And at the end of the show, I decide whether or not their appearance is worth giving them $5. That's what the show is.
Amazing.
So I'm very much excited about that.
6 Unseemly Questions.
If you want to look at something else that I worked on recently, I produced and directed a comedy game show series for Facebook Watch called The Great Fantasy Debate. It was with Penguin Random House, and it's available right now. They're still releasing new episodes, and you can go on Facebook and watch it for free. Just search for The Great Fantasy Debate, and it's basically comedians and famous authors debating fantasy topics like is it better to be part of the rebellion or part of the empire? Things like that. And so it's just like comedy debates all about fantasy topics.
Katha Cato of the Queens World Film Festival says, you're a brilliant one. Carla Debbie Allen just joined. She teaches with your wife and said, how cool.
Carla Debbie Allen teaches with my wife?
Yep.
Do you know Carla Debbie Allen?
She directed,
Carla, apparently.
Yeah, she directed the Bayard Rustin one-man show that recently ran at the East Village Playhouse.
Oh, that's awesome. I love Carla.
Yeah, she's great.
She dresses for a good time, let me tell you.
Wally Green wants to be on she does dress for a good time. You're right.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah. Tammy T is with us. Hi, Tammy. Good to see you. Wally Green wants to play in the 6 Unseemly Questions game.
You got it. You're booked.
Right. So I don't know. I'm going to
message me and let me know when you're booked.
All right. So Wally, make sure that you remind me to connect you. Wally's awesome. Elizabeth Harder, I'm not sure how you're going to answer this, Victor. She said, how did you handle those annoying siblings that just drive you crazy? I also come from a big family. She also has 13 siblings.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, I am very funny, so that helps. Like, if you're funny, it helps with the interaction with people, like, no matter who they are. And so I would keep them laughing so that we didn't have time to hurt each other.
Scott Milvey in the chat, he's one of America's greatest teachers of our young people. He wants to know, he put the quote, "I just wanted people to like me," end quote. He said, "You're likable. Does it still matter, or are you at a point where it doesn't matter?"
You mean, wait, whether or not I'm likable?
Yeah. He said, he's referring back to, I think, the conversation where you were saying how you worked extra hard in high school to, everybody wants to be likable.
Right.
And he says, "You're likable. Does it still matter, or are you at the point where it doesn't matter if people think you're likable?"
Strangely enough, there are quite a few people who do not like me because I've become more comfortable with myself, which means pleasing others less. So I just kind of like do what I want. My basic idea is that I'm trying to do things that make me happy in life, and I'm trying not to hurt other people. Sometimes doing things that make you happy make other people upset because you're not doing what makes them happy. But often you have to prioritize your happiness above other people's happiness. And so if I'm prioritizing my happiness and somebody's like, "Oh, but I want you to do this for me," I'm like, well, that wouldn't make me happy, so I'm not going to do that. Sometimes they don't like you.
Before the show, we talked for a few minutes, and you had said about how you are mastering your life right now. That's how I took it. You're mastering your life. You're doing the things you want to do. Can you talk about that again? That was really deep. That was really cool.
Yeah. Here's I think an easy way to talk about it. So basically, I came to the entertainment world and I was like, okay, I want to be in the entertainment world. And then the entertainment world was like, yeah, we're not really hiring black albinos right now. And I was like, okay. So then I learned how to do stuff. And that led me to a bunch of jobs and different gigs. And basically 3 years ago, I was working as a producer on a big franchise of reality shows, the Love and Hip Hop franchise. Okay. So it's like a giant franchise. And I'm a producer on this giant franchise. And then I realized that I hated it. And so I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. What do I really want to do? And I had to really figure it out. And so between then and now, I was working on just building a life for myself, using my skills. Because if I can produce on these giant projects, like if I can direct for Warner Brothers, if I can produce for VH1 on this giant franchise, if I can work for MTV, Comedy Central, if I can do all that for them, why can't I do that for myself? And so then I started trying to build a world for myself, because ultimately I just want to get paid to entertain myself. And so I'm trying to make that happen.
Paid to entertain yourself.
Yes. I want to do all the things that I love to do, but I want people to pay me very well for it. That's my goal.
Got it. That's this is worth listening to again for I'm going to go back and listen to the last 10 minutes of this, because you've just dropped some insane nuggets of wisdom.
I mean, case in point, 3 years ago, I was not a New Yorker cartoonist.
Yep. I have a like mind where it's like, I want to do what I want to do, and I'm going to go do what I have to do go do it. And without hurting anybody. Sometimes you upset people though, but
yeah, people do get upset, but what can you do about it?
What's it?
I mean, you don't try to upset people, but sometimes like people get upset when you just don't give them what they want.
The room is going nuts. Adnan Sabir. Hi, Adnan. Good to see you. He's in the room.
Yay, Adnan.
Adnan! Jamie Mita says, "Oh my God, so true. I stay to myself, and I don't like people knowing I'm happy."
What?
I know.
What does that mean?
Callie Greenberg, 1000%, Victor. What are the things that make you most happy? Jack Fuller says. Is Dizzy on your list?
Dizzy does make me happy right now. Right now, he is trying to eat my slippers. So he's really cracking me up. He's just having a ball. We got him yesterday, and he was like shy for maybe like 18 hours, and now he's just like, shy. What's that?
What was the impetus to get a kitten?
Our other cat, Miles, he is super playful, and he doesn't have anybody to play with.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to get someone for Miles to play with, and now we have Dizzy, who is apparently very, 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 very playful.
Is Miles hanging out with Dizzy or not?
Not yet. Miles is warming up to Disney.
And Miles is like, okay, kid, you go check.
Yeah, it's only been a day. It's only been a day.
It's 10:30. That means our show is officially over, unless you're willing to stick around a little and our chatters give us some thumbs up, which I'm sure they will.
Let me check with my wife.
Okay.
Leslie, the show's 10:30. The show ends at 10:30 normally. He asked me if I want to stick around a little bit. How do you feel? She says it's fine. Okay, stick around.
Thank you, Leslie. All right, so in order to do that, we play a game called 5 Objects, where I've noticed all this stuff in my house while I've been quarantined, and I'm like, what am I doing with that? Or thank God I have that still. So I'll just show you an object one at a time. You tell me what comes to your mind, all right?
Okay.
Here we go. The first object.
This is an improv game.
Yeah, totally. Here you go. First object, a light bulb.
Oh, ideas, of course.
All right, ideas. Second object, the Holy Bible.
Recent events with Donald Trump.
Oh, I was holding it wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what comes to mind.
My bad. All right.
I thought about this, but I never drew it. But I wanted to do a comic with Donald Trump holding the Bible at the church, and just a caption of him saying, "Does anybody know what this is?"
That's good. Exactly. Lost and found. Warhol.
Funny. Warhol was an artist who said that you should get paid to do your art.
There you go.
You should get paid to do what you love.
All right.
He's 100% behind that.
Here's the fourth one. Darth Vader.
Oh, I love Darth Vader. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I have a stormtrooper back here.
Oh, so. Let's get together, guy, and let's
100% about it. Stormtrooper. I've got a lightsaber that lights up in the house. I'm all about Darth Vader. I'm actually playing a video game right now, which I really love, called Jedi Fallen Order. And so it's basically like Dark Souls, but Star Wars, if you know video games. Mm-hmm. I know some of you out there do, even if Robert does not.
I do not. You know that, and you know that. Exactly. Last one, number 5. Pair of gold sneakers.
That reminds me of one of my very best friends, Rebecca Trent, because her sneakers look like spaceships. So
nice. It
reminds me of my friend Rebecca Trent.
Do you ever get stage fright? You've been on some big stages. I mean, you've been on Conan O'Brien, Jimmy Kimmel. Does it ever feel overwhelming? And if not, how do you get over it? That's a huge platform.
It always feels overwhelming. I definitely get stage fright. I get stage fright all the time. And even in things where I'm not on stage, like even in things where I have to submit something and then it's gone. Or for instance, like the comic that you saw today with the woman with the scarf on.
Yeah.
I keep calling it a scarf. I'm not even going to learn what the real word is. I don't care. But the even that comic, when I put it up, I was like, I think people are going to be mad at me for this comic because I wasn't sure. I'm always in stage fright, but I always act in opposition of my fright. So.
Well, that's where all the breakthroughs. That's where all the breakthroughs happen too, right?
Yeah, I agree. I always think that anybody who's like actually innovating, they're always unsure.
Right. Couple chat things, then we'll go back to a couple more images. Andrew Einhorn says, "Yes, paid to entertain myself. That's my goal too."
Yay!
Colin Peterson wants to know: was there any point along your journey where you wanted to throw in the towel and give up writing, acting, producing, etc.?
Well, as you saw by the cartoon I did where I was jumping off a building, yeah.
Well,
there's plenty of. Specifically 3 years ago when I was like working on that show, and I was like making really good money working on this franchise, and then I realized that I hated everything that I was doing, and I hated every day there. I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And so, I mean, I considered throwing in the towel for realsies.
And this was in LA?
No, this is actually in New York at the time.
Love it's called Love and Hip Hop, right? Is that what
Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah.
The production company which makes Love and Hip Hop, of all of its versions all over the country, they're based in New York. And
tell me one of the more terrible things that you experienced, that you watched, or that you were involved in with that. I'm aware of a lot of reality TV junk.
Well, here's a horrible thing. In Love and Hip Hop, sometimes we had meetings to decide how we're going to create plot lines so that the stars could make out with hot girls. So there you go. It's pretty. Ugh.
Me Too poster board.
Yeah. Yikes.
Wow. Michael Swiskay says, we cannot be captives of what people think of our choices and what we do. Elizabeth Harder says, you're such a great guy. Jamie Mita says, oh, that's so cute. You asked your wife for permission. Sometimes I just like reading, just as you can tell, just going on, reading the chat.
I think they're all great. I think reading comments is awesome.
Yeah. Heather Prescott just joined us. She's a great singer and musician. Jamie Mita said, oh my God, Galinsky, don't hold the Bible upside down. Turko Ono says, with all the issues you have with your eyes, did you have difficulty reading? How did you adjust? What skills or tools did you use?
With all of the difficulty I have with my eyes, yes, I did have difficulty reading, and I was an avid reader growing up, but I would just use magnifying glasses and I would just read because I was hell bent on reading. Nowadays, I have a Kindle, and with whatever you're using, you can adjust the size for whatever you need it, and so
great,
I can just make everything the perfect size for me.
Perfect. I think Amy Alt thinks you're in Brooklyn. She said, what mall did you walk into to go to Radio Shack? I imagine it's Kings Highway in Brooklyn.
Oh, I was living in Alabama at the time, so it was Huntsville, Alabama. So you're way off.
Yeah, way off.
Way off.
And I don't know if on Kings Highway they'd let you go in there and sit down, son.
I don't even know where Kings Highway is.
I dumped a car in Kings Highway once.
Really?
Yeah.
With the law after you?
No, the car was gonna die at any moment, and I just pulled into a gas station and just left it there. Took the plate off it and left it there.
Wow, man,
I'm a rebel. I'm a rebel. You know, what can I say?
You're living on the fringe of society.
Wally Green, our table tennis pro, who's incredible, said, I get, let's see, it's just jumped. Said, I so get the paid to entertain yourself thing. That's kind of exactly what I'm doing. Just never knew exactly how to put it in those words. Thanks for that. You really motivated me more. I think he's trying to soften you up for that table tennis game that you guys are now going to have, that we're going to turn into a major event. Carla Debbie Allen says, this is very inspiring for creatives. Thanks, I agree. Jack Fuller says, Victor, sorry, a little personal, but I love how you check with your wife. How long have you guys been together?
Oh, we just got married this past November. So not that long.
How long were you dating before that?
Like 2 years.
Carla says she went to the wedding reception last year and had a blast.
Oh, yeah. Carla was there. She was great. She was dressed to party.
So yeah. So when you were I was about to say when you were dressed to party. So how did they treat you when you were on Conan and Kimmel? I mean, what was it? Were you doing stand up, like you do the stand up thing, or was it?
Yeah, I did stand up on both of those shows. Conan was very different than Kimmel. Kimmel was tough because Kimmel was furious when I was on the show. Not at me, but it was like, do you remember Omarosa?
Was it when that lion got killed? Was that the show? No, just kidding. Go ahead.
No. Do you remember Omarosa?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So Omarosa was on the show, and she was also on Celebrity Apprentice at the time, or Apprentice, with our future president. And then apparently she was like lying on the show or something like that. And then Jimmy Kimmel wanted to catch her in a lie. So right before she went on, they told her that they had a lie detector, and they wanted her to take a lie detector test on the show. She left. She was like, nope, and left the show. So wow. Jimmy Kimmel was furious before I went on. So my intro and everything was not great. I did well on the show, but it was just
frosty,
not ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does he have a lie detector test backstage on 24/7?
No, they had it specifically for her. They brought one in specifically for her, and then she bailed on the show, like live. And so,
all right, we're going back to a cartoon. Enough of this one I love.
Oh yeah, this is. I like this one too.
This is great. Oh Hank, you still owe me $5 for those of you who can't read well from your computer. Nancy Lynch Hutchings just joined us, my cousin. Hi, Nancy. This one's great.
Yeah, this one was sold to Mad Magazine back when Mad Magazine was still working. A viable thing.
Did did this ever get offered to the New Yorker? Would you not offer this kind of thing to them?
No, I offered it to the New Yorker first. They rejected it. Mad Magazine bought it.
Got it. This is a quarantine comic. I'm actually getting more normal in quarantine. Extremely normal now. Just ask my dolls.
This is, as you can see, this is just somebody I like on Twitter, and I just drew his tweet.
Ah, cool. Great. This one's great too. This one's great. And she's the perfect cat lady posture.
Yeah. I don't know who this one is about, but it's definitely about somebody I know. Oh my god, I do know who this is about. I can't say. I'll tell Leslie later because it's one of her friends.
Not about Carla.
No, it's not Carla.
You tell it's not Carla because she's not dressed to the nines.
It's not Carla at all.
All right. Let's do another one. And then I want to ask you about Stan Lee. This one. Rules are simple. Every time I sink a ball, you're less a man.
Yeah, that's how I think when I'm playing pool. That's how I think when I'm playing pool. I mean, it's terrible. But here's the thing. I do this in a lot of my work where I talk about like people have thoughts that are like unpopular politically. You'll have misogynistic thoughts, you'll have racist thoughts because people have those thoughts.
Yeah.
But the idea is I'm fine with saying, okay, I have thoughts like that and they're nonsense. But people who try to tell themselves they never think that way, like never, ever, ever, those people I feel like are the most dangerous. Like the ones who like, I'm not racist, I just don't have any black friends for no like that. Those are the people who are the most dangerous. Like people who don't recognize that things like that affect them.
Yeah.
And so that's partially what that comic is about too. Is like I wanted to say like, yeah, I put it out there in paper because it is absurd to think that way. But when I play against a woman and she's beating me at pool, I get angrier than normal, which is stupid.
I think, and I think actually I'm thinking about it myself. Yeah, I feel much more diminished if I don't sink the ball or against a woman.
Yeah, and if you recognize that, you can be like, okay, it's a stupid thought, and I can dismiss it.
And it's especially in a bar. I mean, tennis, maybe it's different. I don't care. In a bar, it's the manly place. It's my cave. Tell us about your collaboration with Stan Lee and what was that like? How did you meet him, and how did the work go?
Well, first of all, I never actually met him.
Oh, cool.
The way the work went was that Stan Lee, at a time he was trying to break from Marvel, and so he was working with a company called POW Entertainment, and then they were looking for writers to develop his new superhero projects. And so I submitted through my manager at the time, and then they liked what I did, and I submitted again, they liked what I did. So then they were like, would you like to co-write a movie with Stan Lee? And I was like, yeah. How does that gonna work? And they're like, well, basically Stan Lee sends you like 4 paragraphs of his idea. You actually write the script. Both of your names go on the script. His is first. That's how it goes. And so I had a couple of phone meetings with him, but I never really met him in person.
Oh, but you talked to him on the phone.
Yes.
Was he collaborative? Even though that process, his name is on there. He's like, you remember the painter Mark Kostabi?
He's 100% hands off. And I don't know the painter Mark Kostabi.
Okay. Kostabi's the guy who is famous for paying his painters $8 an hour to paint the paintings that he sketched.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he would sketch them, and they would paint them, and then he'd sell it for
he'd sell them for
thousands.
Like hundreds of thousands and tens of thousands. Yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna definitely look him up.
Kostabi. All right. So tell us what some of the things you're doing. You've got a talent show on Sunday nights. You got something on Thursday nights.
Is it Kostabi with a K, by the way? Look,
yeah.
I'm doing it.
Kostabi.
Got it. Boom.
Cool. Tell us about your Sunday thing, your Thursday thing, where my viewers can go check you out.
Every Sunday, I do a show called NYC Talent Show. You can see it at nyctalentshow.com. It's basically an extension of a show I used to do at the Bowery Poetry Club, which is performance art in New York. And so I do a performance art open stage. By the way, if any of you want to be on the show, just go to nyctalentshow.com and go to like the Facebook page or whatever. You can just sign up and be on the show. Also, we will pay you for your performance. You can sign up for free. We'll pay you $5 to perform.
Nice.
Okay. And it's weekly. And then also, I also have a show called the Arts Academy Podcast. So every week, I just teach people how to do things, like previous things that we've taught. And it's 4:00 every week. But also, you can find old episodes at the artsacademypodcast.com. But every week, we teach people things. And so previous shows have been like, we taught people like how to write a TV pitch, or how to make socially conscious content, or how to write your first screenplay, or just like we just go down the list. People ask questions, and we just spend a half hour just laying it out as much as we can.
And where do you get your ideas for what you're going to teach?
People join our Facebook group and they ask questions, and then we do whole episodes about things. Like, for instance, the very first episode we did was from because it was right when the quarantine was starting, and then someone was asking like, how am I going to work because everything shut down? And I just basically researched like 20 different places that were hiring, and I was like, here's 20 different places that are hiring right now. And I was like, if you're an artist and you're looking for work, here's 20 different places that are hiring.
Terrific. You are a full-service entertainer. Colin Peterson wants to know, who's in your top 5 people you surround yourself with that give you drive, motivation, and positivity?
So top 5 people I surround. So I guess the type of person I surround myself with, or the top 5 people, meaning like who do I? Because it seems like when you say top 5 people, it's like who you admire, but
right.
Then you're like, who do I surround myself with?
No, I think it's surround yourself with. So you could say their name and then what it is that they bring to you, perhaps.
Well, okay. So first of all, one of the top 5 people I surround myself with has to be Leslie Ware. That's my wife, because she and I both work in the arts, and we both understand what we're going for, and that's great to have a partner that you're with who believes in the same type of stuff that you believe in. So when I'm like, I need to stay up late to work on a cartoon, she's like, I get it. So it's great.
Yeah.
And then I surround myself with people who are really good at things that I hate doing. That's the best thing that I've ever done, which is like I work with my company, my production company. I have a chief financial officer. Like, he knows how to handle money, and I know how to handle money, but that's all he studies.
Yeah.
So like when the pandemic hit, he was like, okay, based on what we have, the money that we have, and the money that we're going to get through the pandemic, this is how much money you can pay yourself weekly and be 100% safe. And I was like, perfect. And he handles all of that stuff, which is great. He's fantastic. I also have a person who's a great marketing person, because I love to do stuff, but I hate marketing. I hate schmoozing. I hate all that stuff. And so I have somebody who I work with who she's just like fantastic at making connections and talking, saying the right things to the right people to get us in the right rooms. Like, she's great at it. And I partner myself with people who are great at doing all of the things that I have a deficit at.
Gotcha. Yeah. And a need for too.
Yes.
Great. Colin, good question. Thank you.
Kitten's asleep now, by the way.
Wow.
He just jumped around until he tired himself out, and now he's asleep.
Just put a dab of vodka on it. Mediachek El Idrisi is with us. Deborah Jean Templin, the singer-actress, is with us. Ron Cephas Jones, good to see you, Ron, is with us. Carla Debbie Allen says, Leslie is amazing, super talented fashion designer, writer, and teacher.
Yes, that's all true.
Colin has a follow-up question, and we're going to wind up in a few minutes. But also, do you believe when you're breaking into the business of entertainment, do you recommend being single? If so, why? If not, why?
I don't recommend being single, nor do I recommend being with somebody when you're breaking into entertainment. I think that they're like separate things. I mean, I guess you could be the type of person who's like, well, I need to throw all my all into entertainment so I don't have time to pay attention to a relationship. But my relationship is completely intertwined with my success, because I'm not really just going to be entertainment. I'm going for happiness. I mean, yes, being in entertainment and doing things which I love makes me happy, but also being with somebody whom I love also makes me happy. So they're intertwined.
Got it. You want to look at a couple of photographs that you shared with me and a couple that I pulled up, and then maybe a few more questions, and then we'll roll out of here.
You got it.
I love this one.
This is from NYC Talent Show. This is the first show I did, because when we used to do NYC Talent Show only on live on stage, and then we would do it live on stage, and then we would also live stream it. But then when we started doing a live stream version where anybody can do it from their homes, the very first show actually Leslie, who works in fashion, she made a mask out of the same material that my bow tie was made out of. And nice. So then the first show I showed up looking like that.
This is your wife's design.
Yeah, this is the first pandemic show of the NYC Talent Show.
Great.
Yes.
I have not seen anyone do the matching bow tie with the mask yet. Good job.
Yeah, first time.
Amazing. What do we got going on here? A panel discussion?
Yeah, this is at Comic-Con. This is for Tell Your Friends the Concert Film, which was a comedy concert film, but also a mini documentary about alternative comedy that had from right to left, that's Liam McEnany, that's Kristen Shaw, Christian Finnegan, Rob Pervonian, and on the left, looking at his phone, is me, Victor Varnado, the director and producer.
Got it. Colors. Look at you.
This is, for some reason, I wanted to make a fake trailer for As If Dragon's Lair, the video game, was a movie. And this is from that day of shooting when I made a fake trailer for Dragon's Lair. And I played Mordred the wizard. And so...
Nice. I got to interrupt that for a second. So you talked to me again earlier about not being out there auditioning so much and now just creating your own stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, right? I still am doing acting, but yeah. I'm trying to come around from the other. So here's the thing, like when you're in entertainment, there's one way you can do things where as you are always asking people for an audience, telling people that you want to act in stuff, you want to be in stuff, and you're trying to get into projects. And there's another way you do it where when you create a name for yourself outside of whatever it is, then people start coming to you and say, hey, will you do this? Will you be in this thing?
Gotcha.
And so I'm trying to do more of that rather than the former.
You're kind of creating a demand and also having a great time entertaining yourself.
Absolutely. This is at the Slipper Room at the show called Sweet, which is a Tuesday night regular show at Sweet run by Seth Herzog. And this is me and Hannibal Buress hanging out.
This is Bill Cosby.
Obviously, I'm a little more happy than he is.
This is Bill Cosby's favorite comedian, right?
Yeah. He took down Bill Cosby accidentally. Hannibal and I have been friends for years, and so.
You remember Surf Reality?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was great.
This is the same place, the Slipper Room. This is with that's Questlove. That is Seth Herzog, and that is one of my very best friends. His name is Chris Sullivan, also goes by Shockwave. He did a show called Freestyle Love Supreme, which is on Broadway and is now having a documentary special coming out on Hulu, which also has Lin-Manuel Miranda because they were in a show together, which is Freestyle Love Supreme. And
excellent. Jeffrey Nunez just joined us. Hi, Jeffrey. And Bruce Silverglade just joined us. Bruce is the owner of Gleason's Boxing Gym for the past 3-4 decades.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, Bruce is an amazing guy, fostering so much good with young boxers. He's going to be on the show. I got to get a date booked with him. What do we got going? Is this your improv troupe?
This is one of my very first improv troupes. I think in this, I must be like in my early 20s, maybe 23.
Fro. You're working a fro in this one, huh?
Yeah, it's called Jump Up and Run. I was the only black person in this troupe of white people. The name was terrible, Jump Up and Run. We were funny, but it was terribly named troupe. This is in South Africa. I went to South Africa because I had this weird project idea where I wanted to use improvisation to create a script, take that script, polish it, and then shoot that as a film. This was me shooting that film in South Africa, doing this kind of like film art project.
Twice there.
Oh, this is in Minnesota. That is Colton Dunn, who is he plays Garrett on Superstore right now. We had a lot of fun growing up and doing comedy together in Minnesota. He lives in LA now. I live here. And then on the left is one of my very best friends, Rick Pope. He's just my really good friend. We all just hang out together.
Article Voodoo Lulu.
Speaking of Surf Reality, Voodoo Lulu is who I met at Surf Reality. That also includes I believe that's Chimda. She was in Keith. She's part of Keith and the Girl, which is a super popular podcast nowadays, and we were in this band together.
Key and Peele.
Well, except the Key is me instead of Peele. That's Jordan Peele, and that's me. And then we were in a movie together, which I directed, which starred Charlie Murphy, the late Charlie Murphy. And we played gangsters in this movie. So I cast myself to be his gangster buddy in this movie that I directed.
You look like you could be a real good typecast character role Hollywood criminal.
I would, yeah, that kind of stuff I would love. Actually, even though most people don't want people with albinism to play bad guys in movies, I just want to play a murderer in a horror film. I want to do it. And I want to chop people up.
I got to introduce you to Larry Fessenden, then. Larry Fessenden
All right.
is the man. We're going to go to the chat, a couple questions, and then we're going to get on out of here. And thank you, man. I really appreciate spending this time with us.
No problem. This is great.
Jack Fuller is going back to our pool table comic. Duh, male machoism. We have to get over it, kind of like racism. Sounds like you and Leslie have a beautiful balance. There's hope for change as we're all being confronted with. Thanks for being so real with us tonight, Victor.
No problem.
Colin Peterson says more people will listen and follow if your motive is to advance their wants instead of trying to sell something. And Deborah Jean Templin says Hannibal worked with a writer friend of mine, Steve O'Donnell, talented man.
Great.
Samantha Firestein's with us. So this is a really important question. It kind of brings the show to another level of depth. It's sometimes hard to ask, but we're on a Zoom call. Are you wearing pants?
I am wearing pajamas.
Nice.
That, guys. Pajamas, slippers.
Oh,
very colorful slippers.
You're all cozy. You're cozy, man.
Super cozy.
Look at that.
And
cool.
Then dolphin socks.
Dolphin socks. What about, let's talk about Black Lives Matter for a second. Have you marched? Give us your perception of what's going on.
Well, my perception of it is that the nation is changing and is going through a lot of growing pains to change, and I do not mind that one bit. The nation needs to change, so let it change. I did not march in any protests or anything like that. I did want to do something to help the cause. That actually came out in that cartoon that I made for the New Yorker. And to be honest, like me marching or doing that cartoon, I definitely got to affect, honestly, like a lot more people, because when the cartoon went viral, like, you know, like wait, what was the actress's name who tweeted it out? Viola Davis even tweeted it out. So did and so like a lot of people saw it, and a lot of people would repost it, and they would repost it, and they would repost it, and they would put their ideas
in a comment.
They they would comment. They'd be like, "This means so much to me because of X, Y, Z," and so it was inspiring to a lot of people, and I'm really happy it was. But that's kind of what I did instead of going on protests, because I didn't want to get no COVID, you know?
I hear you.
I don't get no COVID.
And just for those looking at this for the first time, we're actually just getting started. The word started got cut off. And this was just...
who did that?
In the recent New Yorker.
I mean, who cut off the word started?
Some racist. I don't know.
Probably.
I did it by accident. Yeah. Samantha Firestein says, love a good slipper. Colin Peterson says, funky socks. Samantha, socks and slippers. Everyone's into that. Yeah, and Carla says, oh, wow, did that go viral? Callie Greenberg said Jade Chenoweth posted it on her Instagram as well.
Jay Chenoweth posted it?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. I need to write all these down because I don't know all the people that it went to. Because a lot of times people posted it, and sometimes people would uh, they'd credit me, and sometimes they wouldn't. And so it's been a lot of places where I just have not even seen it.
One more question, and then one more question. The question is, what are you binging? Are you binging anything? Can you suggest something people can watch?
I'm so sorry, you guys. If you ask me what I binge, you'll be like, he just watches idiotic things. So, for instance, the thing that I'm watching most consistently right now is the Harley Quinn series on DC Universe, the cartoon, the R-rated cartoon that's on DC Universe, and I watch it when I jog because I have a home elliptical, and when I jog, I watch that show.
Okay, all right. And the last question:
swearing and blood.
People, time to throw out your thank yous and kudos. We do this at the end of the show. We've already gotten a bunch of them. Scooter Mill, they said you're all over my Facebook page. I'm not sure what that means, but maybe he's going to post your. Oh, he must be posting that on his Facebook page. What's your call to action for my audience? Every time we do a show, I asked my guests, what's a call to action? Something we can get motivated behind.
My call to action is very simple. And in fact, if you search for it in quotes, you'll find me. Because I may have coined this phrase. Nothing is sacred because everything is stupid.
I saw that on your Instagram.
My Twitter. You saw it on my Twitter. My Instagram says my stupidity is your problem.
See how stupid I am? Yeah, that say it again. Nothing is sacred.
Nothing is sacred because everything is stupid. That was just it's a reminder to myself that just remember that everything that you hold dear can mean absolutely nothing to other people, but also the reverse is true. And always remember that some things that you don't think are important can be really important to other people. So respect that.
Awesome. Respect. All right, man. I really appreciate the time. I know you're busy and you took time out for us. We'll make sure that we post up on the site your shows. My chat jockey, Callie Greenberg, already dropped them in the chat as we were talking. So the audience already has it, but we'll make sure they go on the archive. Andrew Einhorn says, thank you and kudos. Victor is very inspirational in the diversity of his artistic endeavors and passion for all of them. Michael Swiskay says, Galinsky and Victor, being here with you is time well spent. Thank you. Samantha says, thank you for your viral post. Probably the first time someone ever thanked you for giving them a virus.
Yeah, using viral now is just, it's iffy. Now's not the time, but it is what it is.
Thanks again, and thank your wife for letting us have that extra time with you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great to see you. Ciao.